Welcome to Between Over and Next with your hosts, Holli and Robert, a happily married couple who explore the space between what was, what is, and what's to come. From career changes to navigating life's uncertainties, this dynamic duo will empower you to live your happiest life at every age and stage. So, get ready because your journey with Holli and Robert starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Between Over and Next. Hi, Holli.
Hi, Robert. Welcome, everybody, to this very special Thanksgiving edition of Between Over and Next. Robert, this is episode 46.
Wow.
We launched Between Over and Next on Tuesday, January 16, 2024. Where have those 46 weeks gone?
Well, you can see them in your favorite podcast aggregator.
Not only have we had very full weeks, week after week after week, it's been so fulfilling.
Yes.
And I always talk about having an attitude of gratitude. And as we reflect on this year, we are so grateful for you, our podcast community, who enriches our path and motivates us to share our stories, our perspectives, and all the lessons learned that we focus on relatable, relevant topics to do and be better on relationships, technology, entrepreneurship, work-life balance, family, and launching your next big thing. Your engagement ignites our passion to continue delivering uplifting and empowering content. I love Thanksgiving. We've been hosting Thanksgiving for many, many years. It is my favorite holiday.
And it allows you to really display your talents in the kitchen.
If you are a regular listener or viewer, you know that that is not my specialty.
That's true. Although Thanksgiving is when you're able to demonstrate at least your one thing that you create in the kitchen.
Tell everybody.
Your famous cranberry sauce.
Okay,
thing.
It's my mother's favorite cranberry sauce. Let me tell you the recipe. It's a can of whole cranberries, a can of crushed pineapple, and chopped walnuts. Mix them all together, and voila, you've got the famous Holli cranberry side dish.
Where did she learn it from?
Actually, I think a friend inspired her, but I'm not sure if she did the exact same recipe. But then again, my mother is not exactly from the cooks either. Before we hosted Thanksgiving, my mother and father hosted Thanksgiving and brought family together. And that's what we continued, which I think is an important thing to embrace and continue, is hosting. And that is my favorite part of Thanksgiving, is hosting and bringing family together and expressing our thankfulness for them in our lives. And as our family continues to grow, and that gives me a lot of joy.
Yes.
But on this podcast, we want to say thank you to all of our supporters. Thank you to our listeners and our viewers for tuning in every week, for leaving thoughtful reviews, and for being an integral part of this year's journey. Thank you to our featured guests for sharing your wisdom, your stories, and your energy, because you've inspired us and our audience in countless ways. Robert, thank you. Thank you for being my partner in life. Thank you for the behind-the-scenes magic that keeps this podcast running smoothly. I love producing this podcast with you.
Well, you're incredibly dedicated to this. It is quite obvious, and there is no way that these episodes would get produced and would be anything worth consuming if it weren't for your involvement. And I think you've embraced a lot of the additional roles that you've taken on in this since Wedding Podcast Network back in 2005, when really you were just the on-air talent.
You've taught me a lot, and I do believe it's a collaborative effort, and I truly believe it is a combination of our creative energy.
It is. And the truth of the matter is that we don't outsource any of this. Everything is done in-house by us. And that takes a lot of time and energy if it's going to be done right. And I'd like to think that we do it right.
Something we always talk about on Between Over and Next is the power of excellence. And producing this podcast, every detail matters. And importantly, we are serving you, our listeners and viewers, with information and content that is going to help you in your everyday life, personally and professionally.
Yes, I agree. And that's why we do what we do.
And we are celebrating personal milestones because this year brought us so much joy becoming grandparents, Robert. And this has been a true highlight of our lives. And we talked about that on episode 41.
Mm-hmm.
So we have decided to take a very well-deserved break, a pause between now and the new year, between 2024 and 2025, to be present and spend time with our family and cherish precious moments, embracing the season and recharging for an exciting 2025. And we talked about the power of the pause on episode 40. It's important to define what a break is, because a break or a pause isn't necessarily an end.
No, it's actually just the opposite. It's a continuation. And without the ability to take a break and assess what it is that you're doing and what the next steps should be, because of how we produce this show, because we're grassroots and we do it all ourselves, we don't outsource any of our podcast production. It takes time to do each and every week, from researching to booking guests to producing it to editing it to getting it out, all in the span of a week's time. Takes time. So if we're true to who we are and what we do, we have to build this pause into our workflow so that nothing, including our personal lives, is suffering in the mix. And that's exactly why we decided to do this.
It's also a between over and next space that we always talk about. It's a transition point where we reflect, refocus, and importantly, get ready for what's next.
Right.
And there are so many benefits of a break, because breaks aren't a luxury, they are a necessity. Stepping back gives you clarity to assess what worked, what didn't, and what we're excited about moving forward. It's a chance to unplug, to breathe, to lighten the mental load, to relax, to prevent burnout, and align with your goals for personal and professional fulfillment. And we always talk about focusing on what matters most. And we did that in episode 36.
Right.
As much as we love this podcast, it's time to walk the walk and talk the talk and live out what we preach, prioritizing the things that truly matter.
Right.
So like Robert said about assessing what you do, this is what we are going to do in the next few weeks. And we're going to encourage you, our listeners and viewers, to do the same.
Yeah.
And we talk about that too, to plan, do, review, assess, repeat.
Right.
We encourage you to take this season, this time between Thanksgiving and New Year's, to do that, because it's a simple process that can inspire you creatively and increase problem solving and make a big difference in any area of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that being able to focus on some other things is important as well. A break doesn't necessarily mean stopping anything. It's just attending to the other things that need attending to without having to sacrifice your lifestyle, which is really what is most important to us, is that we're able to live each day incorporating all of the things we love to do. And one of them is podcasting. And in order for us to continue to do that, we have to fill in the other gaps in part of that big picture. What a lot of people don't see is the behind the scenes, is the preparation to do this. And it's very interesting because when we started podcasting back in 2005, we were setting the pace for everything involving podcasting because there weren't many of us at the time, compared to now. So when we did Wedding Podcast Network, we didn't have a regular schedule of podcasts. It was just, we're doing them as they come. We're covering shows, we're doing bridal market, all of these things. And it was a continuous flow of content without much scheduling, right? There was very little regularity and a lot of continuous flow of content. And it was a very different pace than it is now, which is much more intentional in how we do the shows. And what's interesting and has come up in conversation amongst other podcasters is the concept of the season, taking after broadcast television, cable programming, where you have season 1, season 2, season 3. And I guess in a way for us, we're coming kind of to the end of season 1. And what will be the next season and what will that look and feel like? How will the characters have changed? You would see your favorite TV show and you watch, especially when it involved kids. And you'd have like 1 or 2 seasons pass and suddenly the kid hits a growth spurt and now no longer looks like the little kid and suddenly a teenager. It's kind of the same thing coming back in 2025 with our next season of podcasts. We'll probably have a little bit of a different feel to it as the next season should, taking into account feedback and criticisms and people being helpful in trying to guide where we go with this. So all of those things will be taken into account as we move into the new year.
Well, what won't change is our commitment and our dedication.
Well, it'll deepen and get even stronger, I think.
Especially what won't change is the HR. The Holli and Robert brand, the Holli and Robert duo. We love what we do.
We have to get a onesie with an HR on it.
We will because, by the way, we realized
We didn't
this.
plan it.
We didn't plan it.
Because we didn't have really, well, not necessarily a say, but Lindsay and Elliot picked the name.
So to fill you all in, if you haven't listened to that episode yet, our grandson's name is Holden Ray, and it's HR. And we love that. And he's a month old, and he is truly a bundle of joy. So time, we all have the same time. We all have the same 24/7.
Yep.
And we all have to choose what we do with that time. And there are lots of decisions one needs to make. And we talked about that, was one of our episodes also, all about choices. And all of the episodes I'm referring to, I will cite in our show notes, which is part of my responsibilities. And I love doing the show notes because I want to continue to inspire you with content that is meaningful and with purpose. We're inspiring you to take a pause, whether it be for a day, a week, or the whole holiday season. Take a break. Reflect on where you've been and where you want to go.
As entrepreneurs, holiday season was always difficult because we would want to continue to get work done, and the corporate world, in a lot of times, would just kind of be like coasting through the holidays. They're like, we don't want to do much. We've got holiday parties and hanging out and all of that. So their urgency wasn't always as urgent as our urgency as entrepreneurs. So it'd always be funny because like no one would want to get any work done between Thanksgiving and New Year's. Everyone was always in holiday mode. So we're feeling good about enjoying what will go very quickly, and suddenly we'll find ourselves in January and back to producing more episodes. But in the interim, certainly, it'll give us some more time to be present in our social feeds a bit more, as we have in the past. If you guys have followed us between Over and Next, there were large stretches of time where we were going live every single day, many times from our backyard. And when it wasn't in our backyard, it was in front of our fireplace. Those were basically our two spots. We didn't have a dedicated studio, certainly, in our previous home, but we certainly had some built-in beautiful sets in which to come live from. So that was pretty cool.
We're going to be coming live to you. We're going to pop on with some fun moments during the holiday season and perhaps a surprise or two. You definitely won't want to miss it. We're going to encourage you also to listen to more episodes if you haven't listened to them all. Go back and revisit some of your favorite episodes or
episodes you might have missed. We have 46 of them.
And they're all less than an hour long with intention.
Digestible.
We're looking ahead and looking forward to 2025. We're planning a lot for 2025, including some exciting new projects and collaborations. We are looking forward to teaming up with you on your passion projects. So stay tuned for ways to get involved. This break is not a goodbye, Robert. It is a chance to come back refreshed, energized, inspired, and ready to dive into what's next with even more enthusiasm. Do you think that's possible, Robert?
No,
more
I think
enthusiasm?
So. There's always room for more enthusiasm.
Definitely. So this season, we are counting our blessings. And one of the biggest blessings is you. We thank you so much for being part of our world on this podcast. Please share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. There is so much that is aligned with the lives that we lead. And we want you to enjoy the holidays and appreciate every single moment. And we want to thank you for making 2024 an incredible year for Between Over and Next, because we couldn't do it without your support, your stories, and your encouragement.
So make sure that you check out our social feeds throughout the holiday season to see what's going on in our personal and professional lives. And maybe you'll get to meet some of our new family members that have recently joined our family tree, and we couldn't be more thrilled to watch our family grow and to enjoy those moments together. So, Holly, thank you for making this possible. You motivate me, you keep me on track as best I can, and I appreciate your persistence, because sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to move in the direction than you'd like me to move, and I appreciate you being patient with me and not kicking me to the curb. So thank you. And
No kicking. You are a
Thank
keeper, and I could not do this without you. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody but you. I know the best is yet to come.
It is, absolutely. And each day that we get to enjoy life is a gift, and we want to cherish that, and we encourage all of you to do the same.
And I love December.
Yes, it's a big month, and that's why we're going to continue to be coming to everyone via our social feeds, because it is a big month, because the national holiday of Holly's birthday is upon us.
Yes.
You celebrate everyone's birthday all the time, and why shouldn't people celebrate you on your birthday?
I just want you all to keep on celebrating everything.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us on Between Over and Next. as we bring to a close season 1 of our podcast and looking forward to what lies ahead in 2025. So from both of us, we want to thank you for joining us on Between Over and Next, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Between Over and Next. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it meaningful and insightful.
If you value it to be worthwhile, please share it with your friends and family.
We would really appreciate it if you could take a moment to write a review for us. Your feedback will help us continue to create content that resonates with you.
And don't forget, in the show notes, you can find all the relevant links mentioned in this episode, from accessing free downloads to visiting our website and more.
If you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. Simply send us an email. Our email address is hello@hollyandrobert.com. We're always excited to connect with our listeners.
So until next time, thank you again for joining us on Between Over and Next.
Thank you for listening to Between Over and Next, the podcast that navigates the twists and turns of life with courage, laughter, and a whole lot of inspiration. Tune in every Tuesday to hang out with Holli and Robert on your favorite podcast platform. Visit hollyandrobert.com and follow them on social media to ignite your passion and fuel your dreams.